Hello, it's Diane with Diane's Blue Hearts and Butterflies.com, and I am bringing you one of the cards that we made at the March 2023 in-person stamp class. The hostess had liked the Sweet Citrus bundle in the January to April 2023 catalog, but I didn't have that bundle. I did have the Lemon Zest one from that's been retired for a few years now, and I told her that I could make something out of that, and then people could get the Sweet Citrus bundle if they wanted to. The card that I did see on Pinterest, though, it also used the Jar of Love and the Everyday Jars die set. These also are retired, but if people have those or have another stamp that's like it, I kind of thought maybe there's one stamp set in the current catalog that has some glasses in it, like a drinking glass, and that would be kind of able to be used with this as well. So I wanted to kind of go through, and I was sharing some stamping tips with this this card idea, and so I will share those here. I'll go through what we need. This is a Daffodil Delight 5.5 by 8.5. It's scored at 4 1/4, which is in the center in landscape, and this makes our card base. And then I used a piece of old olive cardstock. This is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and that makes a layer to go on here. There's also 2 pieces of white that are 5 1/4 by 4, and one is for the front and the other one is for the inside. There are there's a piece of scrap white. This one's about a 1/4 of an inch by about 3 3/4 inches, something like that. And then there's some other scrap white pieces that you'll use, and then a piece of scrap vellum. And this was what I die cut the jar die. The Everyday Jars set, it has this large die to cut out the largest jar, and then it also has a die that cuts out the middle. So I cut the outer side with the vellum, and then I also just show this. I stamped the jar in Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and we used these dies to cut the outer side and the inside of the jar, and then the vellum will show through from the back. So let me put those off to the side. I also showed them the benefits of being able to get several different shades of the ink from the one inking of the stamp. And so the first generation was very dark on the ink, and so you stamp it once, that's the first generation is what we call it, and then you stamp it again, it's without re-inking it, and it's the second generation, and then you can even stamp it again to get a very light shade, and that's third generation. So sometimes when you hear people talking about the generation when it comes to stamping, that's what they're talking about. So I took that, and with the second generation, I stamped the lemon, the whole lemon, the lemon slice, and then this is in Daffodil Delight, and then I took the old olive and I did the second generation by stamping off and then stamping this with the Old Olive ink. Now, you can see that I kind of missed a few places. Well, I took the Daffodil Delight Blends, the light, and you can kind of just come back in and just make some kind of dots to kind of fill in some of those areas. And then it doesn't look like you missed as much as you think that, kind of fills in and gives it that kind of look. So just wanted to share that too. So if you feel that your stamp is kind of missed in some areas with the blends and sometimes the Stampin' Write markers, but especially with the blends because there is a lighter shade that you could go back in and kind of fill in some of those larger gaps or spots with the markers. And so let me put these away and bring out the things that I have already done so that I can show that, because I've already gotten a lot of these things ready. Now, I did cut out these pieces already. Oh, I was going to show about the straw too. And the punch for the lemon zest, this one is the, I don't even remember what it's called now, but it does the 2 different leaves and the whole lemon, but it does not do the lemon slice. So we still had to cut those out by hand, or fussy cutting as some people are calling it, or do call it. That's what I've heard it called. So I'm just kind of adding some of that in there to get rid of some of that. So on this, I did take the, I think it was the lighter one. On the straw, I took and I lined it up in the diagonal with these lines on the grid paper. And then I just took the bullet end, and in between, I kind of skipped a line and then went between the lines. Whoa, put it back. And then I just kind of colored that in between. And then I skipped a grid mark, and then I went down to the next grid mark. And this just kind of allows you to get that diagonal look for the straw so that it looks like it's kind of a swirly type straw. So that's what I did on the straw. Now for the inside, I did stamp second generation with the lemon. I did it after the sentiment, which I stamped in the Memento Tuxedo Black, but you can always stamp that afterwards. I was trying to line it up better and didn't line up very good, but I did put the first part of the sentiment on the outside and then this one for the inside. And then on the slice, I did, after cutting it out, I went ahead and cut it in half so that I could have a half slice to put with the whole. And then on this piece, because I wanted to kind of stick it so that it's sticking out of the jar, I just kind of sliced a little bit on this one slice, creating a little gap, slit right there. I also took the blends markers, because when you are coloring on vellum, you cannot use the dye-based markers because they will not dry. But these blends are an alcohol-based marker, so they do dry. And I wanted it to kind of look like there was some lemonade in the jar. Now this one's kind of dark. You could, on the other one, I didn't put it away and now I can't find it. Oh, there it is. I probably should have used a lighter one, but I was trying to get it a little bit darker because the other one that I had done the light and it just wasn't as dark as I wanted it. But I think this one is too dark. So basically you just, to me, the back side when I cut something with the dies is where that piece kind of folds down. And so I just kind of wanted to get an idea of where I wanted that liquid to be in my jar. And then I just colored back and forth on the back side. of that with the blends marker so that it would give it the look of there being some liquid inside that jar. And I didn't want the jar to be clear like the window sheet. I wanted it to be a little more opaque, so to speak. So then that will sit aside and you can let that dry. And then when it comes time to putting this all together on this vellum, I wanted it to go directly behind the jar. Oh, this one. Sorry about that. Kind of made a mess because it's pouring out and I don't want it to yet. I am not that great with the white glue anyway. I have to do something because it is coming out way too much. I think I had it laying on its side too much. So anyway, I'll just kind of wipe that around a little bit. Sorry about that. This is why I don't use a lot of white glues, because I tend to not be able to work it so good. All right, put that off to the side here. Now I have gluey fingers. And I want to try to keep this from going inside. So you'll kind of line this up with the outer edge of the white. Okay, then I'm going to let that sit off to the side and dry while I get the rest of this put together. Anyway, I did like the citrus bundle in that January to April 2023 catalog. However, I'm trying to tell myself I can't have everything. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and layer these on the front of the card. I want to do that before I put the jar on because it'll be too thick for me to try to adhere it through all of that. So because I'm going to raise the jar up on dimensionals and have there be some dimension to the front of the card. So get this. Oh, ran out. It's a good thing I have another one right here. I like to use the Seal Plus. It tends to get the glue adhered better for me. The other one, I tend to have problems getting it to start and stop well. So here we put this on with a tiny kind of outer border. And I got a little bit of glue on the outside. Not to mention all the glue on my fingers. Get that off. And, so I'm going to also glue this one in on the inside. The idea, there were several of them on Pinterest that I had seen that were like this. There was Karen Robinson, Linda Suarez. I can't pronounce this next one very well, but it's Hejung Huntsberger and Laurel Seabrook. I wanted to make sure that I pointed out everybody that I could I was kind of getting inspiration and ideas from that I saw. I really liked this idea to use this older stamp set. So it's kind of a retired replay, if you want to call it that. And then I'll put this one on the front. And then to take this jar now and raise it up, I am using the foam strips, the adhesive foam strips. And I want to leave the top open because I want to be able to put that lemon slice in there. And I also want to have the straw going in. And then I wanted it to be kind of a cute card where I could put a little drink pouch in it to give them, I used one of these little lemonade drink pouches to put inside of this jar, kind of sticking out, so that there would be a little kind of gift, so to speak, for them. And then I'm just gonna cut one of these. You can use your fingers to kind of tear it, but you can also use scissors to cut it. And they kind of bend around some of the corners a little. They're okay. If you wanted to use this as like a shaker card, you would want to make sure that everything, all the pieces touch, and you would go ahead and seal up the top, but you'd want to put your beads or whatever you're going to use inside here on this before you adhere it, or you want to put it down in a special place on the card front and then glue that all the way around. I wasn't making mine for a shaker card though. I just wanted to let you know you could do that. And these foam strips make that very easy to do so that they can be kind of hidden behind whatever you have on the outside. So this I'm just going to put over onto this side in this corner. And then there's a couple other things I need here. So this one I wanted to go ahead and just put some glue on the straw, kind of at the top. I don't think the bottom really matters, but I'm going to put a little bit down there. And you can kind of fold that adhesive over if it goes over the edge. And then I just kind of stuck that down in, leaving a little bit hanging out like the straw. And then I wanted to give a little bit of depth, but I don't want it to just be all depth. So this whole lemon, I just stuck straight down to the card front layer. And these leaves, I'm gonna put those in there too. But I just want it to kind of be off to the side a little bit. And then the leaves, I'm going to put a glue dot on those and then just kind of shove them under. Just have to be careful because you don't want to hide your words. So I'm going to put that up there. It may need a little bit, another glue dot. I'll just take it off with this and put it back here. And then get a couple of glue dots here. And this one I'll stick in this way. Now the one with the slit that I'm going to be putting over this, I did want to go ahead on the little inner slice where the triangle part, the top of the triangle here is. I'm going to put the glue dot right there on that part. That way I can glue it, and I want it on the front. That way when I stick it underneath the back of this front of the jar, I can stick that behind the mouth of that jar. And I'm going to use my bone folder back there so that I can press that. Now this part is kind of sticking out, and I want it to be held up a little bit, so I am going to use a dimensional on the back of that. And peel the backing off of that. And I'll stick that down there. And then this other, I'm going to go ahead and pop it up on dimensionals, the other half of the slice, so that it can stick out kind of over here on this side. And so kind of have that laying over here. And then when I went to put the lemonade in, I just wanted most of the powder to be up here. That's going to be outside of the jar. That way it's not pushing out so much on the inside here. And then you can take that and you put that with your envelope. It would probably require, if you were mailing it, extra postage, but you could just hand it to somebody without that extra postage. So I thought that this was a really great card idea to share, and it also allowed me to be able to share with my class about the varying degrees of ink that they can get from their ink pads and different shades of the ink. Also, you could take, if you would like, some of the iridescent rhinestones and make it kind of like there was some sweat droplets or whatever you want to call it off of the jar. So add a little bit of bling there. A lot of people like to have a little bit of that. Adds a little more shine to it. So that's another idea of doing that. I hope that you enjoyed this project and that you will check out my blog at dianesblueheartsandbutterflies.com. All the dimensions for this project are also on that website. And I'll get that posted as soon as I get the videos uploaded and linked to that. And I hope that you will, if you liked these types of ideas, that you will shop with me. These products are unfortunately the retired ones, but you could get the Sweet Citrus from the January to April 2020 mini catalog. There's also a, I can't remember the name of the stamp set, but it has like a mug as well as a glass, and you could use that stamp set to create a glass of lemonade. I hope that you like that and that you will share and like the video. Also, if you're interested in seeing more videos that I upload, if you'll click that bell icon, you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And thank you for sharing with me.